Welcome to the Michigan Business Wrap, where small business owners discuss the issues that affect you here in mid-Michigan. Find us in downtown Lansing next to the Grand Traverse Pie Company or online at mibizrap.com. And now, here are the experts.
This is Tony Cuthbert, host of the Business Wrap. Today's conversation will surround how to successfully use co-branding and co-marketing. To do so, we have brought together a panel of experts, and they are
Courtney Mackey, Glow Social Media, and Second Brain Collective.
Ash Harris, IKEA Web Solutions, and Second Brain Collective.
Paul Schmidt, UnoDeuce Multimedia, and Second Brain Collective.
Chris Buck from CJ Buck Consulting, also with the 2BC.
Lori Richard, CEO of Edge Partnerships, multi-purpose branding, marketing, and advertising agency.
2BC. We'll get into that TBD at some point in the future here on this program. But first, in order to understand how to market these strategic partnerships, let's define what these are. And Lori, let's turn it to you in terms of co-branding. What exactly are we talking about?
Co-branding, also known as co-partnerships, are just that. It's when two entities, two different brands come together to form a marketing partnership. They work together, they create a marketing synergy, and it really is what it sounds like. You're bringing the entities together. Sometimes a larger brand will partner with a smaller brand, and the smaller brand benefits from that more recognized brand. Sometimes equal brands in the market will come together as well to expand their markets. There's several key benefits to co-branding. There are many successful examples that we can look to. And the goal, of course, is to achieve mutual marketing benefits and create strategies on how to best work together.
Okay, we got that. That's a definition if I ever heard one.
I'm an English major.
Yeah. It sounds great, but there's got to be some cons, right? Maybe?
Yes, definitely. There's some very cautionary, no matter what business book you look into on partnerships and co-branding, there's always that very critical caution to choose your partner wisely, as in life, in our personal lives, as in our professional lives. If you are considering co-branding, that partner choice is going to be a critical conversation, or you're going to run the risk of damaging your own credibility and reputation, which all of us here at this today on the show have worked very hard to secure.
Okay, let's move to what was it, Chris?
The 2BC.
Jeez, I'm never going to get that right. So now that we have got these definitions and all of that,
sure.
This is actually taking place at this table, if I understand it correctly.
Yes. She mentioned the discussion of having two different organizations combine forces, and we did it twice as well because we have four of us that realized a long time ago that we were knocking on similar doors with one facet of a company's overall strategy to drive customers to their business. So we've got the four of us here today. We are launching a new website that defines who we are and what we're trying to accomplish. We believe ourselves to be a new approach to business consulting and marketing. So we've got the four of us managing a different pillar of a company's offense. And those pillars really are business consulting, being ready for growth, making sure that your operation from a employee morale and customer satisfaction standpoint are solid enough to build your foundation of growth on. And that's the part that I contribute. Paul will give his own little elevator speech, but we've got video production. Ash Harris does web design and strategy and development, and Courtney does social media. So the four of us in conjunction can really help a lot of the local businesses and nonprofits develop their offense to drive more customers or participants to their entity.
Sounds legit. Does anybody have anything else to add on that note, or did Chris cover it all?
Well, Chris definitely covered it, and what he kind of alluded to at the beginning was we all kind of stumbled upon this. We met each other over the past few years or so at networking events, and certain things would happen where we would stumble upon realizing we had the same client, or we would find a very specific need where we would need to bring in unofficially one of the other partners, either to consult or actually provide services. And that happened enough times where we realized that there might actually be a need, and we also kind of developed a working relationship. So instead of sitting down and saying, well, I need this partner and let me go out and find somebody. But we really let it happen organically and got to know each other outside of just our professional lives and felt comfortable with each other's work styles, and were really able to seamlessly transition into kind of pairing those offerings together.
Yeah, I think that's about right. And organic is certainly the word I would have used. In earlier episodes, we've talked about, do you go out and intentionally find a partner? In some cases, yes. In our case, it made sense. We were all here local. We had continued to bump into each other and build a relationship of just a strong relationship based on good interactions and then eventually mutual work. And yeah, that style matched up, and this makes a lot of sense. And we all had, I think what it really comes down to is we have a lot of similarities in terms of our interests, our passions, and our approach to just like our business philosophy.
And just to tag onto that or add on to that, which is a good segue for me, is that's exactly what I provide, is content that needs to be somewhere. And so, partnering with organizations such as Ash and Courtney's is vital for what we do. Otherwise, where would it go? How would it be seen? That type of stuff. I'm not a social media strategist. I'm not a web developer, but I provide, content. So it's just an easy relationship. And I was always constantly looking for those types of partnerships because of that fact. I can't do a lot of the stuff that we do online standalone. It has to come through a vehicle for people to see it and for it to be effective, and then the customer then understands the return.
And to kind of capitalize on that a little bit more, when I go and engage with a small business client, a lot of them say, I've got problems and getting more sales is going to fix my problems. And as I wander their halls, I find a lot of times that their employee retention and morale and engagement isn't as high as it needs to be. And then there really usually is not a measurement of customer satisfaction. So I often will caution a small business client to make sure that their infrastructure is sound so that they can build their growth model on top of an established platform. And so I help them create efficiencies to do that. But to play that even further, I've had clients in the past that wanted to bolster their social media platform. So, I say, well, do you have someone who can handle that? And in a lot of cases, they don't. So I can say, well, I know a person named Courtney who can help you with that. And then Courtney can engage. And I think she'll tell people that, social media used to be text, and then it was pictures, and now it's video. Do you have a video guy? And the answer is, well, no, not really. It's like we do some stuff with Facebook Live, or we do our own videos on our cell phones. Well, I know a guy named Paul who can really help you tell your story and help edit you a professional video. And it's like, well, where's all this going to land? Well, it's supposed to drive people to my website. That's where really everything happens. It's like, okay, well, how great is your website? How confident are you about your website? And when was it made? And when was it last spruced up? Because I know a guy named Ash who can kind of get involved. So really what a client gets from us is use any dimension of who we are. We're 4 independent business owners. The Second Brain Collective is really just an overarching umbrella to help us market the fact that we have an affiliation or a consolidation of efforts, but you are working with 4 independent small business owners that are motivated with just one part of your strategy. And that's exciting to us because we believe that the client then gets what you pay for, as opposed to hiring a full-blown agency who may specialize in one component and then do some work in other parts of this, whereas we are 4 independent people who are passionate about the discipline that we provide. And if you've got a video person, use your video person. You're not obligated to use Paul. If you have a person on staff that's doing social media, then maybe Courtney can come in and help train them, and then they can be off to the races. If they've got their infrastructure set up, they can use the other 3 and they don't need me. So that's one of the benefits I think we're providing under the 2BC.
Paul, I don't know if you agreed with what Chris just said.
I love Paul. He does great work.
You always go with me. Always go with me.
Lori, what do you make of all this from what you've heard?
So this is a great organic partnership that kind of bubbled up through experiences and shared interests. So that is one type of partnership. There are other very purposeful, intentional, or groups are sought out or individuals are sought out to bring their skill set in. At Edge Partnerships, we are a multidisciplinary agency, so we have we have designers and artists, we have social media, we have marketers, we have PR, And we didn't start like that. We started with two people, two women who started the business, who brought their own unique skill set. So that original partnership was very important for our continued growth, and then bringing on other partners, if you will, because every individual brings their own brand. Lori Richard had a brand. Angela Whitwer had a brand. Aaron Pumphrey, our chief design officer, has a brand. And to make sure those brands are complementary and actually raise the organization, that becomes very important. And then what happens if you pick the wrong partner? We've seen it in our own marketplace where entities break up, if you will, and create their own or are absorbed in another area. So that original partnership it should be purposeful. Organically, I think they just saw how they could combine skill sets and offer that to people and organizations in need of those skills. But they're also very intentional, and that's why you see other agencies buying agencies, other businesses partnering. So I think we're in an era of collaboration in government and private business, where we find that the strength of several is much bigger than the strength of one. And so I think that's awesome. The second part of our name is partnerships. So we obviously have grown with that philosophy in mind. So that partnership, I think it's great in that we don't always have to be competitors. We don't need to be everything to everybody, and I think that's sometimes how businesses fail. They try to be everything. They don't stay true to themselves.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. I'm sorry, Ash, go ahead.
Oh, well, yeah, this is Ash Harris, Kia Web Solutions. I was just going to say that what you were talking about with the organic or the intentional, growth of a partnership, I feel like we're almost a hybrid, because while it did happen organically, I think we had all set out to look for partners, but we did not necessarily approach a lot of specific people until we found ourselves in that. I don't know. It was an environment where, just through networking and getting to know each other, we found ourselves seeing that we were complementary, I guess, and we took baby steps. We launched an event called the Drinking Lunch, and that has been going on now for over a year and a half. We've been doing a podcast, which we've done 4 seasons of this podcast together, and through collaboration in that, through many other business activities that have resulted and stemmed from that, it became natural to really formalize this collective, this group of people.
This is Paul with UnoDeuce Multimedia. I wanted to touch on something you mentioned about businesses trying to be everything versus being what they're known for, and that's one of the steps that I took. When I first started this company years ago, I offered a lot of different services, and I found out that I didn't really understand those services as well as video to sell them appropriately, and so I just scaled it all back and and then went my search for other folks that would be complementary to me, that did offer the services, that knew them 100% or more, and that's what I think works. And so I really agree with you on that.
Absolutely.
Yep. And I think one of the passions that the four of us share as well is really while we have clients all over the country, the revitalization of Mid-Michigan, helping local nonprofits and business owners be more successful is something that we really take a lot of pride in. And so really joining forces and connecting with the local business owners to make them more successful on purpose is one of the missions we really share.